Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Roll for Discussion. I'm still trucking along. I'm not going to finish this. I'm going to try and get as many people as I can to guest on this show. And today, a longtime friend and a longtime D&D player is my friend Kate, who plays Astrid, if you guys have seen the previous episodes. Hey, Kate.
Hi. I don't know why I wave.
That's fine. I do it a lot, too, especially behind the booth. But I have some questions for you.
Oh, go for it.
So, you and I's first game of D&D was together.
Yes.
In 2012, 2013.
Oh, I'm bad with dates. All I know is that you invited me.
But our first game was together. I played a very difficult class for a first time player. I played a sorcerer, and you picked up a ranger.
I did. I still don't understand how you were able to do a sorcerer. I still can't get sorcerers right.
I don't know. I love the magic mechanics in this game. But, so tell me, because you still play Astrid in one of our current campaigns where we're trying to face off against Tiamat eventually.
Oh, yes.
But, tell me how she grew from when you first played her to where she is now.
So when I first made her, like you said, I joined that whole group and I didn't know anyone. And the way that I know myself, the way I meet people, I'm awkward. So I am mean immediately when I meet people. And I never want to come off that way, and I always try and fix it later, and that's usually when people start connecting with me better. So instead of me being unfriendly to a group of people that I was brought into, I made a character that was me meeting people. So
Sorry. It's so accurate, though.
It's perfect. That's why I was like, this makes so much sense to me. I can just be nice to people and make a character who is always mean.
Yeah.
So Astrid started off the same way that I would when I walk into a group of brand new people. She teases, she's rude, she says what she wants to say, and just makes sure that everyone knows her opinion, usually. It's the one that matters, really.
That is accurate. I mean, granted, this was years ago, so I don't super remember. Yeah. But I remember at the beginning, you and I were both kind of like, this is us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard to introduce it into a group of people because without knowing them, it's like, are they going to judge me for what I've just made?
Mm-hmm.
Does it make sense?
Yeah. It is hard to jump into a campaign. Excuse me. It is hard to jump into a campaign when you're being invited to an already established group.
Right.
Which was why it was initially a little hard for me when I joined your group.
Mm-hmm.
With my tiefling warlock,
mm-hmm.
who I love and who's probably eventually going to turn out super duper evil, because his.
It's okay, I'll stop you.
Because Astrid will stop him. It's gonna be caused by an arrow between the eyes, but she's gonna stop him. Jesus, I didn't even think about that until just now.
Oh yeah, I'll stop you.
It's gonna be bad.
There might be some PvP.
That I've told you there was PvP in our campaign between Carrick and Elros.
That's what I heard.
And it was super cool. But I was super proud because that was something Elros totally would do. I was also super disappointed because I didn't want my players to turn into murder hobos. And they didn't.
Murder hobos.
They haven't. Have you heard that term before?
No, I've never heard murder hobos.
Okay.
Is it like hobo with a shotgun? Is that what we're thinking?
That's what I'm thinking, but quick sidebar for the audience, a murder hobo is a player who eventually just kills people for no reason like it's a video game.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, exactly.
How tough does that make it? Tough.
Well, that's the great part. It makes it really easy for the DM. Because if your entire party turns into murder hobos, you just send the guard after them, which are always 10 levels above them.
Oh, yes.
Just a quick note to any players out there, don't piss off guards, because they're always set to 10 levels higher than you.
Piss off guards.
Even if you're like level 20.
Oh, God. Yes.
They're level 30.
Please, know your limits. dangerous.
Yeah. But Astrid, I adore Astrid.
Thank
I
you.
adore Astrid's character just because, like, it's a character I'd love to play, but I'm too meek. Like, as a person, I would feel bad playing that character.
You could do it. Anyone could. You just access the meme.
Access the meme. Yeah.
It's in there.
But,
Everybody's got it.
and there's Zarius who's like, I love learning. And then he gets a message from Tharzadoon. And Tharzadoon's like, kill an entire room of lizard people. And he's just like, okay, let's do it. That's how it goes.
Flip.
He put a crown of madness on one of them, and that one killed everything else in the room, and then he told it to jump in the furnace.
Oh, God.
Do you remember that?
Oh, God.
It was really bad. My character's not a very good person.
He's mostly good.
He's mostly good,
He's
but
good.
like his flaw is literally like knowledge is worth an entire nation's worth of lives or something like that.
Yeah.
Like he'll kill people to get the knowledge he craves.
Right.
But it's
No, we can get over that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
it's fine.
We'll figure it out.
But in the current campaign you're playing Kit,
Yes.
who you've also played before, but have you played her before in this class, this setup?
Traditionally, no. She was in a fully custom campaign that worked a little bit like Neverwinter Nights. It was awkward and strange, and she was all over the place because I loved her too much. I adore her. She's like the young kid in me that I just brought out to love so much stuff and then not care about manners at the same time.
Yeah.
So she has never, like, she started out with like extreme dexterity because I just trained dexterity constantly, and then
Okay.
she found a way into, I don't want to say paladin, and
Okay.
it was some sort of religious idea because she like made a deal with a god that if she got enough people to agree to follow this, and it was a good god, I don't remember which one, I don't remember the name or the origin or anything
Well,
like that.
the entire campaign was custom, so like forgetting details
Right.
is
Oh
understandable.
my God, I know. I was like, oh, I don't even remember who I'm following right now, but they're a good guy, and if you do good things, you should follow this good guy. And they were just like, okay. And Kit was like, one down. Like, it was like if she did enough good things for this god, they promised her something good, like bringing back a friend or like bringing back a like doing
Yeah.
something good, because that was her whole point. She is here to do good, and it's
That's cool.
so. And
that's
she's just young and dumb about certain things too.
Yeah.
She's got
I mean-
the curiosity of a cat. The minute you like hold something in front of her and you're like, don't open it, she's just like, okay, pop.
yeah. Genie comes out and tries to kill her.
I sent
Something
us
like
to
that.
the Old West. I sent us to the Old West.
Oh my
I
god,
don't
really?
even. Yes, they were like, please hold on to this and please do not open it. And she was like, you just handed this to the wrong person, though. They were like, don't do it. And she's just like in her bedroom staring at it with these big eyes and looking at like the little lid. And she's just like, what if I just open it just a tad? What if it's just a little tad and just like pop? Old West. Oh, jeez.
that is an amount of wonderful that I don't think I've heard before.
Oh my God. It was amazing.
Custom campaigns must be hard. Like the campaign I'm doing with Ambrosia, which is their team name.
Okay. That's a good team. I didn't know
It's-
people made team names.
Yeah. Theirs is actually named because Elros likes to shoot apples off of people's heads.
Ah.
And so they went looking for like a specific apple that sounded cool.
Yeah.
And they found the Ambrosia apple.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're going to be called Ambrosia. It was like, all right, perfect. I love it. And so their symbol,
I like that. That's cool.
there's the symbol, Velan makes a lot of custom emotes for the channel.
Mhm.
And we have a Nat 21 that's like a golden apple.
Oh.
And we have a Nat 1, which is like a rotten apple.
Oh my God.
And it's really cool.
Love it.
It's really cool.
That's neat.
Like custom campaigns, homebrew campaigns, all that stuff is really
They're tough.
complicated.
Yeah,
It's
they're
really tough.
hard.
That being said, with the homebrew campaign with them, I'm having a blast writing it on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Like I have zero trouble coming up with new things to pit against them,
Mhm.
if only because I've already found the end game, and they all know it too.
Yeah.
It's Zugdmoy,
Yeah.
the demon queen of spores.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned this on a previous episode, but Carrick is really driving the narrative at this point
Yeah.
because he's so paranoid about the organization that they work for
Right.
that he's gone off to Neverwinter.
Oh my god.
and they just encountered the cult of Asmodeus, who, just a quick sidebar for the audience, is D&D Satan.
Oh.
He is just the big bad demon. And just started a war between the cult of Asmodeus and the Abolithic sovereignty.
I'm just gonna casually go to the city and start all this shit.
Well, he didn't. Like, he encountered a member of the Harpers.
Gotcha.
And that guy was like, listen, I need to get something from the Abolithic sovereignty, but they're on guard. So if you plant this in this piece of paper with the symbol of the Abolithic sovereignty in a cult of Asmodeus cell, they'll go to war with each other, and I can go get that thing I need.
Oh my god.
Granted, I used a lot bigger words because this guy's like a priest of Saloon, and
Oh,
he's like
man.
65 years old.
Oh yes.
And so
The
I didn't.
wisdom for the big words.
He didn't quite sound like a 26-year-old man who was just like, go do this thing for me. But I'm having a lot of fun with that campaign, and like I scarred a lot of them with the last session when they came into they walked into this cell of the cult of Asmodeus, and like there's a guy on a sacrificial table getting his guts spilled, and like there's 8 guys in robes, and there's chanting and the symbol of Asmodeus on the wall, and the room is dyed blood red from all the sacrifices. Yeah, and they were all like, John was... And I was like, I had 3 weeks to work on this because I couldn't play for the past 3 weeks.
Oh my god.
So I kind of went a little crazy.
It's alright. You gotta scar them. You gotta make them feel something if they
Got-
wanna actually
exactly.
play.
And every once in a while, like in Elevorn's episode, she was like, John, you're such a great DM, and I'm just like, oh, stop it, thank you. But yeah, it's like, as a DM, your goal is to enrapture your players enough that when they go home for the next 7 days, they're thinking about what just happened
Oh yes.
and what could happen on the next episode.
Mhm.
The episode.
I like the campaigns where I go into it and we've just had this big thing and we get time for preparation for the next one, and it's so much fun because then I go home and I'm like, oh my god, what just happened? I have to write everything down, and then I'm like, okay, step 1, like find thing. And I'm like, okay, wait, I need to go back and find out what this thing actually is.
Yeah.
Like, I like when I get to go home and plan, but then it's so much more fun when you get there because then you're like, I'm all prepared and that's perfect, and then shit goes crazy because no one ever does the same thing. And then
Exactly.
you get there and you're like, oh, they had a better plan. Mine just said get the thing, so.
Yeah. To quote Johnny, like, never show up prepared.
No.
Because your players are
Don't
going
do
to
it.
disappoint you.
That's a really, that makes sense that he would say that. I think we are a very big disappointment, but
I think we're a disappointment in the fact that we are. So our adventuring party for the Tiamat cult
yes.
campaign is 2 rangers, 1 ranged and 1 melee,
Mhm.
and then a warlock.
Mhm.
And
We're a very small group.
we're a very small group, and we're prone to being like, is that a problem? That's probably a problem. We should probably kill it before it's a
Yeah.
bigger problem.
Yeah, it's usually handled in that way. There's never usually a moment where we're like, let's handle this with humanity. It's always like,
Which
shit,
is-
do we need to kill that?
Yeah, I mean, Zarius tends to try and start things
Yeah.
civilly, but like as soon as something goes bad, he throws like an arms of Hadar
right.
behind them, and then tentacles come out and start
Right.
whacking on them.
And I usually like to, even like, sometimes I never know if it's like super appropriate or not, but I like giving countdowns. So like, if I'm starting to get worked up, I know Astrid would be worked up at that point. So like
Mhm.
I'm listening to someone trying to give me like a bullshit story and I'm watching them and I'm like, and like I'm sitting there with my group and I have my hand up suddenly and I go down, 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 and they're all like, oh no, wait, what do we do? Hold on, can we handle this before she does this? And suddenly I'm just like, all right, let me tell you something. Like
And usually right as you get to one, I'm like, mage armor on you. Just to keep you safe. Just to keep you from killing everything.
Oh my god.
Oh jeez. It's hilariously ironic that at the at the end of the day we're always like, stop it. Like that's that party, and like Czar, who's played by our friend Oster.
It's
And
okay.
I wasn't sure if she wanted to be outed on the
Oh, that's okay.
podcast or not, but our friend Oster plays Czar, who's this who's this just like dopey, loving dragonborn who at this point has like 17 pets
Uh-huh.
because he just like every time he finds something new he picks it up and puts it like on his person. He's got an assault drake that he carries in a
yes.
Bjorn.
Yes, a baby Bjorn, and like on his back or chest, either one is fine.
And like 40 newts that live in his hair.
Oh yeah, he like it's all amphibious or reptilian with him, and it's just
Mhm.
everything is adorable in that way. So
Yeah.
anything that he sees is just like, I love you, my child.
Yeah, my child. That's
my baby,
my baby, my son, my daughter.
my son.
Which is always funny because Zarius and Astrid get into it every once in a while, and he always walks in and is like, children, stop fighting.
Oh yes, Zar is like our go-to father figure. That's immediately what Oster wanted us to know, was like, I want to be the person who will always protect you because you are my babies. And we were like, okay. Then we got further into play and we were like, oh, I see.
You weren't
see now.
kidding.
There was like one time where we did not have Zar in it, and like Astrid like gets up and is listening, and she's like, Daddy? Excuse me, Daddy? And there's no one about, and she's like, all right, let's start some shit.
Yeah. We immediately became the worst children.
We were not doing very well that
No,
day.
we were naughty to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what we did in that
I
session,
honestly
but
don't
I
also
remember we
remember
were just
what we did.
causing shit.
Yeah, we caused a lot of shit.
Daddy,
Daddy.
Daddy, I want it now. Which, like, I almost associate that with Astrid now. Just because it's so funny. And now we're on, because Johnny usually DMs.
Correct.
And I wanted to give him a break because he had mentioned, like, he had DM'd for, like, years and years and years and years, and only
Yes.
gets to be a player every once in a while.
Yeah, when our other friend Ben DMs every once in a while, but he's also on a hard work schedule right now, so we don't even get to see him that much.
Yeah, but I approached Johnny with the idea of me running Tomb of Annihilation,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so excited because I had already read through the book and knew how difficult like the last chapter of it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, like, it's not going to be an easy campaign. It's probably going to be a really hard campaign, and you're probably going to want to stick with like something you know. And then everyone except one person picked a class that they weren't like super comfortable with.
Right.
Like, you picked monk, Johnny picked
Yeah.
druid,
Yeah.
Oster picked rogue, but I was expecting that.
Oh yeah.
And then we
Oster's like our
had
go-to rogue.
yeah.
Perfect.
And then we
for
had
it.
2 new players join, probably for just this campaign for now.
Yeah, I'm thinking just for this campaign. Chris, I don't think he likes. I actually don't know. I tried to get him to join the last one, but he was having schedule conflicts too. So
Yeah.
this was like just perfect timing and like starting right away. So it was
Yeah.
perfect to bring him in.
And I kind of wanted to use this as an introduction for Jackson
Yeah.
because I had broached the subject that I was going to be playing D&D like the next day, and he was like, I've always wanted to play. So I printed him off a character sheet, and I was like, listen, like, if you want to join, just here's when we play,
Yeah.
and I'll drive you there. And he was
Right.
like, all right, let's do this. And he came like ready to do the role play.
Yeah,
Like as soon as he walked in,
he really did. He was pretty prepared. He was asking lots of questions. He was curious. He was very polite. He did great. Actually, he came prepared. He knew what his character was going to be all about, and he just got down to it. It was really good. He was more prepared than I would have been my first day, and I don't even remember how my first day went, honestly. It was a long time ago.
I don't remember how our first day in the campaign went. I do remember, I barely remember that campaign at all, but you remember stories like that you had to remind me of.
There are so many good stories about that one.
So our first campaign, just another quick sidebar, was Kate was playing Astrid, and I was playing my first character named Damon, who the DM of that game kind of made a custom class for me, which was like a half lich, which is like the highest level of undead, in case you don't know much about D&D, which is like the highest level of undead you can be, but still be like pure evil. So throughout the course of the campaign, Damon had to fight with this lich for control of his own body, and at one point he lost that fight and killed like an entire jail worth of people, except for you guys.
Except for us in a cell, we were like in a cell. I don't remember if we were. I think we were ground. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I think we were still ground level with you, but maybe we were below level, but there was like a window at least where I could look straight out into the courtyard where you were. But it was the middle courtyard of the jail, and everyone was around you, except for us because we were the only ones stuck in our cell.
Yeah,
but at least we were together.
And I killed the entire courtyard.
Yes.
Because they noticed that I was undead, and they took me to the gallows, and they put a noose around my neck, and as soon as they dropped it, I had to roll to see if I was still in control.
Right.
And I failed. And the lich woke up and literally just like started eating the souls of everyone around him.
Yes. So it was, we had like an awkward, was this after that other guy took over?
No, it was before because I was still undead. Because as soon as he took over, I was cured of that.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I left that campaign, because I wanted him to have that problem.
That campaign got a little weird at one point, because it's like they took away our individualities. But there was one point where Astrid got her sight given, it was like given back to her by a goddess, and that's how she got like this goddess bow and everything, and like she was blessed. And I mean, for me, it diminished a little bit of Astrid. I made her to be perfect at shooting without having the sight. That's why she was confident, because she was like, I don't need my sight to kill you.
Exactly.
Like, but she had just gotten her sight back, and I was like, oh my god, what do people do when they get their sight back? I don't know. So I was just acting like, the best thing that I could think of was that everything is so different. You haven't seen anything in years. So it's like everything is bright and kind of different. You're seeing the world a little cheerier. And you're
we
like,
get it, Astrid. Those are trees.
Right.
To quote Brian.
We would literally walk past, and I was like, damn, that's green. Whoa, look at that blue. Like, oh my god, the sun is so bright. And they're like, no, wait, don't look at that. Don't look at that one. Don't look at that one. And then, like...
Then you'll go blind again.
Right, exactly, which I probably should have just done anyways. But we got into that jail cell all together, and our druid, was Brad a druid?
Yeah, Brad was a druid. And
was a
like
pissy druid.
Yeah, he was not a happy...
He wasn't a happy camper.
He wasn't a happy camper with that campaign.
I think he was a little awkward that he had new players to work with. He
was not very patient with us.
He wasn't very patient, but I mean, I don't blame him, because I see where he was coming from a little bit, but I still would have appreciated a little bit of patience.
Yeah, especially now that like you and I are, I won't say pros, but veterans in the D&D game.
Now that I've been through it a little more, like Brad was maybe at that moment, I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, this is why I show patience, is because I met Brad. He was not very patient.
Yeah.
But we got into our jail cell all together, and like Brad is pacing the floor because he's upset that he's in the cell, and Brian, our drunk monk, is just sitting like, I don't know what we should do. Like, I don't understand what's really even happening. I'm just here
He
with
honestly,
alcohol.
he honestly acted more high than he did drunk.
He did, but
And it was entertaining as
I
hell.
think the best part, like, that made him drunk was that he was actually moving around at the table. I think that
Yeah.
it was the visual of sitting there with him, because then he was just, like, moving about, and his limbs were uncontrollable at times, and then
Flopping around.
Flopping around.
I think there was an actual session where he, like, purposefully fell out of his chair.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. There were a lot. He was really good about it, but he was next to me without anything, and I'm Astrid with my regained sight, and I'm looking out the window like, oh my god, everything is so colorful, and I had no idea for so long, and I'm watching, and I'm like, oh, look, there's our friend. There he is. He's getting hung up on that thing, guys. Look at it. And they're like, no, all right, we're trying to figure out how to leave. Can we take this a little seriously? And she's like, geez, fine, all right. And she's watching, and he starts to kind of change. His form is changing, and he's getting scarier, and it's like darker, and he's rotting away, and things like this. And Astrid's like, guys, no, wait, guys. And she's like reaching back, like, guys, for real, come look at this. And they're like, for the love of God, we know what the courtyard looks like, Astrid. We already all looked at it for you. We've already all seen it. She's like, no, for the love of God, someone come look at this. And then they all turn around and watch it. We're just like, oh, shit.
That was accurate because, like, until you had reminded me of that moment, like, as soon as you reminded me of that moment, I kind of flashed back to when our DM was essentially like, yeah, he's your buddy, you see your buddy Damon walking from body to body,
Yeah.
touching them and pulling their souls from their body.
I don't even have all the words for it. It's just, it was, we were just like, oh no.
Yeah.
No, don't, oh God, no. Put it back.
I think honestly that was that whole session was just like, no.
Stop it.
Stop it. That's bad.
Put that back in that guy.
That guy's dead now. It's just like ongoing.
Oh God. Oh.
And then Damon grew from like this really timid guy to eventually just being like, hey, that guy's an asshole. I'm going to go kill him.
Yeah. Yes.
Which like
Definitely.
I kind of blame on that being our first game, that like he jumped from being timid to like, I'm fucking sick of this so
Yeah.
fast. I kind of blame that on it being our first game and the fact that point in the campaign I wasn't super happy with the campaign.
Yeah, our campaign took us in a direction where it changed our characters against our will. So it's not as fun when that happens because you make your character the way you want to, but you also, like, when you come into a campaign, you have to know that you have to grow too, along with the group and like along with the story. You have to know what you're experiencing, and just, I mean, you have to know that you're going to do that, but someone else taking your character and changing it for you, it's almost like they've taken the whole point of having you there. You were the creative point of it, and no one deserves to take that from you.
Yeah, sorry for giggling during your like
No,
very
you're
important speech.
You're totally fine. Don't ever let anyone take your details away from you, everyone.
Yeah, I turned to check the computer.
You're fine.
And there's a couple of questions here specifically for like you and Astrid that
Sure.
the Discord has proposed. So Carrick asked, what is Astrid's primary driving motivation?
Her driving motivation, like when she joins a group, is that what we're thinking? Or is that like when we get into...
What drives her? Like to...
Altogether, it's survival. Her point is if she finds something, like if she goes into a town and she's just met this group and they're like, I need some help. She's like, well, obviously the only archer that you need to look at is me.
Yeah.
Because
God, the
I don't
comparisons...
even need...
The comparisons to Elros are so hilariously real.
She's just like, she's there. She knows her talent. She knows that she's worthwhile to keep around. But I mean, she's just confident.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sells her on a group. And once she gets into it, I don't want to say that she makes it hers because it's not true. She doesn't make it hers. She definitely takes control in certain situations, though.
Yeah. She's the one who's going to instigate a fight
I will gladly.
if it gets to that point.
Happily.
Yeah.
If I see something that needs to be fought about, it will be fought.
So Anthony wants to know,
Mhm.
what do you think, how do you feel about Astrid being a part of this game, my Discord game?
I adore it. I love that she is someone who is worthwhile keeping around and bringing back.
Mhm.
Someone, I like her, like if I ever have the chance to write a campaign, I would use her again too, because I know that she will be upfront with you. If there is ever something I need to tell a character, I will tell them, and it will be Astrid.
Yeah.
She is the one who can do it.
Yeah.
I love that her character has grown to a point where she can be used in that way.
Yeah, I worked into the campaign that it's been like about 5,000 years
Yeah.
since she and Damon first met.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been dead
Yeah.
for about 4,000 years,
Mm-hmm.
based on an elf's average
Yeah.
lifespan. And the fact that I built an entire town based around like what Astrid would have put forth. It's a town, it's a nice town,
Mm-hmm.
but like they are ready for war at any given moment.
Damn straight.
And exactly. And like there's this challenge that if you can hit a bullseye on these 3 targets, each at a longer range, like I think the last one was like ridiculously long range.
Good.
And if you could hit all 3, you actually got to challenge Astrid for her bow.
Damn.
And then
Oh yeah. And he won it.
Elros completed that challenge and then went into the crypt where like he walked up toward the bow and she immediately like appeared behind him and was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Reaching for my bow." And and then she challenged him to the contest, which was an interesting. I built essentially a mini game
Yeah.
where you had to hit her 5 times because she's a ghost. She's not going to take damage.
Mhm.
And she's even like not even a ghost technically, because in D&D you can kill ghosts, but she was like a lingering spirit who was like just they came to her for advice occasionally, and he had to hit her 5 times, and each time the DC was harder. The last hit was like 25. He had to beat a 25 to hit her on the last hit. And he did.
Yes.
And
I'm rooting for you.
Yeah. And he received Fenthras, which was the bow I gave her.
Yeah.
And he ended up winning it with like 3 hit points left.
Oh.
Like it was close.
Oh, God.
It was really close, and
So
it was
much
really nail biting. But
pressure.
like at the very end, she's like, "My bow is yours. You've proven that you're strong enough to wield it." And he goes down and he grabs Fenthras, and as he's leaving, Astrid grabs his arm, pulls him in, and goes, "Don't mess up with my granddaughter." And it was really fun because I got to play your character.
Yeah.
And it was a little endearing because like Elevorn has met Astrid before, and Astrid was very warm to Elevorn, though still like you got to get stronger.
Right.
She was very warm, but it was like there was an edge to that warmth.
Yeah, I'm
and
sure
it was
with
super
age
cool.
she would warm up at some point, but
Yeah.
I mean it makes sense.
Like there was a text RP session between her and Damon, who is now like 5,763 years old or something like that. Yeah.
I don't even
and-
keep track of her age. It just stays the same constantly. Every time I bring her back, I'm like, I don't know, you're the same, whatever. It's around, you just left that one campaign, you're in this one now.
There we go. But and this was entirely on me. Like I didn't consult you about this, but
Yeah.
like toward the end of her life, he finally plucked up the courage to tell her that he cared about her,
Mhm.
like in in a love sort of way.
Yeah.
And on her deathbed, she turned him down. And
Yeah,
she
that
was
sounds
like,
like
"Listen, I care about you as a friend, but..." And he offered her immortal life.
Yeah.
Like, unending life, eternal youth, and she turned him down too.
Yeah.
And I was like, I kind of that entire sequence was improved on
Yeah.
my part. Like I made that up on the fly, and at the end of it I went, all of these decisions are totally valid in how Kate would play Astrid,
Oh.
I think.
For sure.
Like Astrid is gay or bi?
I think she's bi. I just came across that woman who was very pretty. I always look for women first, I think. But
Yeah.
I think she would end up with a man if she
I always
wanted.
like the reason I decided she'd turn him down wasn't because of her sexuality, but specifically because and this sounds really awful, is that he was honestly weaker.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That
So
would
I
be
was
why.
right in that.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm glad I got that right then.
Yeah.
Because
I would
like
say.
he cared about her and he wanted to give her eternal life, but like I also think she would have turned down eternal life because that would have ruined the game.
For sure.
Like there wouldn't be any excitement anymore.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely would have. Yeah. That definitely
Another
makes
one
a
of
lot of sense.
so this one's kind of more for Astrid.
Gotcha.
So like get into character.
I'm trying.
What is your professional opinion of 2L, which is the ship name of Elevorn and Elros, your granddaughter and her boyfriend?
Oh, he better watch it. I'm just saying. I'm always watching, and I'm pretty sure that my bow is always going to be trained on you.
There you go. I told you gotta watch out, Anthony. Gotta watch your butt.
If I have to compete with you again, gladly I will.
And this one's pretty fun. What is your favorite adventure that Astrid has been on? Because you've played her in multiple campaigns.
I have, but honestly, Johnny's has been the most exciting one. I loved the first one that she was in. I had good people I was with, and I felt pretty confident about it, but I was, still learning. But Johnny's, now that I've got her character down, I know her background constantly. I know the way I want her to act. I know her decisions. She's in Johnny's, and he wants to take us to God level, and I'm like, if anyone's gonna get to God level, it will be Astrid.
Yeah.
She will watch from above and shoot you.
Yeah.
So,
I've thought of bringing Damon back and like changing his subclass to the dragon one for a sorcerer. Just so I can say he's reached God level.
yeah.
But I think I'm gonna stick with Zarius just because I really love where he's going.
Yeah.
But and the last one, Carrick, you have a lot of like really deep, profound questions. Thank you. What was the formative moment for Astrid, and what was her most significant failure, and how did that shape her?
Oh.
Right?
Wow.
Carrick with the deep questions.
Carrick.
Thank you.
I love this. This is cool. I think I don't know if any of you know Astrid's backstory at all.
I have not shared that with them.
Okay. Do you mind if I tell it
No,
really
please.
quickly? She
That's why you're on, to
Okay.
share your experiences.
Woo!
Yeah.
Experiences. Okay. So Astrid was born to I would say a poorer family in a village, and her mother died giving birth to her, and her father was the lone hunter for the whole village. He was the only one doing it in the whole town. He would go out, hunt, bring back everything that he could back into the village and sell it, and then use that to keep the house going. And Astrid grew up this really free spirit. He wanted her to be strong, and he wanted her to be like super smart and independent, and he wanted everything that he could give to her because that was his darling girl, and that was what he had in life anymore. So he one day went into town after a hunt and met a random woman who has just appeared in this town, who's got like all these fancy things and like offers money and everything like that, and she says that she can give his daughter a better life if he were to promise to marry her. And this guy, like, not thinking anything bad, could possibly happen in this tiny village, and only thinking about the betterment of his daughter is like, anything.
Yeah.
I will do anything to get Astrid a proper education instead of sitting in this place while I read books and she reads books. He's like, there's more to life than that.
Yeah.
And once this woman enters the home, it's really clear that she is deteriorating the family. Astrid begins to catch her adding something to her father's tea every night, and it's clear that she's poisoning him slowly. She doesn't know how to make it. She doesn't really know what to do about it, so she's hiding in her room and watching her every night see that this is happening, and she doesn't know how to communicate to her father about it. And this is really the only time that she has ever felt like a failure, is that she didn't know how to help her father. And this woman finally starts notices one night that Astrid is staring at her through a knot in the floor, and kills her father in front of her, and tells her that that would be the last thing she ever saw, and blew a dust into her eyes and blinded her.
Yeah.
So, and from then on, she told I don't remember what I named this horrible woman. I don't remember, but
I've got the backstory somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere. But she runs into the village and blames Astrid for the death of her father, pinning it on her. And Astrid ran, which probably doesn't seem like a smart idea, but damn, did that make her stronger.
Yeah, panicked kid.
Right.
What would you do if like something like that would have happened?
Plus, then she's not seeing anything. But like, she runs into these woods, and from then on, it's her living in the woods. It's survival. It's holding back your feelings, because that will make you weak. It's making yourself stronger by being alone. And so when she comes into a group,
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. So when she comes into a group, she is immediately like, none of you matter to me.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to be in here, then I'm going to put my best foot forward and get done what I need to get done.
Yeah. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Right. So I think her biggest failure in life to her would be the fact that she lost really the only thing that mattered to her in the world was her father, and had no way. And I think maybe her biggest triumph would be she beat a woman in a drinking game and took her to bed immediately, and I was like, damn, I didn't even know I could do that.
Isn't it always funny when your character takes over your personal decisions?
I was like, you can, what? I was like, I just saved, like, our drunk friend even, like, I outdrank him, and I was like, he was made to be drunk. Like, I was like, this just happened, and
Isn't it always fun when your characters make a decision for you?
It is, that's exactly, she has taken things further than I could have ever imagined, and that's how I was able to make such a good, a good personality for her that is like, it's likable, but you like to be mad at her too.
You love to hate her, but you also love her.
But you also appreciate her because she is dependable and she is strong, and it's nice to have her around because she's got your damn back, and she is like super realistic, and I don't know. I love her, so I could probably talk about her all day.
Yeah. I understand. I mean, like, I don't think I've ever shared a lot of information about Damon. I don't even think I've shared a lot of information with the Discord, whose boss is Damon. Like, they get their missions from him.
Yeah.
But, like, I've purposefully not shared a ton in game because I kind of want him to remain like the mysterious character, this like shadowy figure who's, and like they've picked up on it, he's a very like loving and caring person, but he's scary too, because he's at this point, like, his entire right arm is skeletal and his right eye, and and I love him so much. I love Damon, but he's always been very meek. He talks with a heavy stutter. But like when they walked in, he was like, you made it to the headquarters of the Shadow Council. Like, and then he blessed each of them. And when he blessed them, mechanically he cast Wish
Yeah.
just to prove how strong he was, like not to the character, the other characters, but to the players. I wanted to
Yeah.
prove that he was that strong.
Right.
And the way he, I can't talk right
You're
now.
good, you're good.
The way he used Wish was he leveled all of them up. So
Oh,
he
okay.
literally granted them power through
Oh
this
my
Wish spell.
God.
And I purposefully used that as kind of a way to endear them to him, because honestly, you see a guy who's half skeleton, you're gonna be like, oh, back off, buddy.
Right.
I wanted to use that to endear them to him, but also make them go, this guy will be out of our league
Yeah.
probably forever.
Yeah.
He is and I've squeezed in something that actually in a campaign Brad DM'd,
Mhm.
that he is a god.
Yeah.
He's the god of life and death. But he chooses to stay on the mortal plane.
Yeah.
And like Carrick is untrusting of Damon.
Mhm.
Carrick, see you there. You should love him. He's a sweet boy. Oh, Veland's gonna draw Damon next? Veland, I love you.
Yay.
Carrick is Carrick. That is true. I adore Carrick. Like I've talked to you about Carrick on a number of occasions. That
Yes.
every once in a while, the character of Carrick is very frustrating,
Yes.
because he's a very paranoid, very like untrusting character.
Yeah.
And the Carrick's player Trakul, that's not his real name, it's his Discord server handle, but his player Trakul often apologizes to me. He's like, I'm sorry, that is what Carrick would do. And I'm like, listen, so long as you're playing your character to what your character is, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just kind of frustrating because he's actively driving the campaign now. So like every time Carrick makes a decision, I have to go to my computer and type up a new story. Which is always fun. I enjoy when characters take over the campaign,
Yeah.
because it honestly makes my job as a DM easier,
Yeah.
because if one of the characters just starts making decisions, I can sit back and just be like, all right, I know where you're going now.
Right? Yeah, definitely.
I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the start of this campaign was difficult for me because I've never done a homebrew campaign before. And this, like, I'm pulling some things from books, but,
Mhm.
like, for the most part, it's all coming out of my own brain.
Yeah.
And and the first, we did 2, like, session zeros just to prepare the characters, and I knew it was going to be a great game right after both of those sessions, because
For sure.
the characters, like, Scarlet came in, like, role-playing off the bat, so did Anthony, so did Velan. Carrick came in doing his Batman impression right off the bat, which I love too.
Yeah. That's pretty
Sogar
cool.
came in as like the big dumb barbarian right off the bat, but
Aw.
like the barbarian with the heart of gold. Like, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
he volunteered for the apple trick right off the
Oh
bat.
my god.
Like, shoot the apple off my head.
Yeah,
like,
really.
just very sweet.
That's cool.
I love this game.
Yeah. It sounds like you've got a lot of really good players who are working well together, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
making it a lot of fun for you, so
Yeah.
that's what makes it worthwhile.
I've always wanted to DM, and since we were doing the Horde of the Dragon Queen? Is that what the
Yes,
first book
that
is
was
called?
the first book.
Okay. Since we were doing that and I wasn't sure how long that was going to last,
Mhm.
the subject was broached in another Discord server, like, hey, I want to play D&D. Does anyone want to play? And I was like, screw it. I'm going to try DMing for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think it's turned out really well.
Yeah.
I'm super happy with it.
And I mean, you've built a happy team, and they're all happy with you, so
Yeah.
I mean, sign number one that you're doing well.
Yeah. When your players love you and hate you simultaneously, that's
Oh,
when
yes.
you've made it.
No, it's the
Which
same
is
thing.
which is
Like,
kind of the same thing with Johnny. Like, I
yeah,
walked in
that's what I
and
was
like
gonna say.
right off the bat I was like, he knows where the story's going,
Hmm.
and he knows what the characters are going to do in it to an extent. I mean, I think we've surprised him a couple of times.
Oh, we've definitely surprised him.
But he's got this like just grasp on everything that I really.
I think that's the experience that he has, is that he knows.
Yeah.
He like sits there and he prepares for a long time, and then he's like, he just knows the general direction of where we're going. So he knows he either has to like maybe give us a little push in one direction, or the other push is like, I don't know. I actually, you know what? I'll be honest. I have no idea how people DM. I would love to learn one day.
Yeah.
And I've always tried to like teach myself bits and pieces of it, and I don't know. I was never really that great.
To
But-
quote Johnny again, it's 90% bullshit.
Yes. Oh, I know. I there's some things that I will never grasp, and I think that will be one of the things is the bullshit. I would look at someone and be like, oh.
I mean, I've learned a ton about like improv
Yes.
just from DMing,
Mm-hmm.
because like half of my job is to go, all right, so you guys run into this, what do you do? And then like Elros, our archer, is like, I'm gonna shoot it in the eye, and I have to go, okay, that's a called shot, so I have to increase the difficulty, but you crit, so it doesn't matter, throw my dice out the window. Like he rolled like 3 20s in a row on a fight with a giant octopus.
Oh my god, I've seen people roll 3 like crit fails in a row, and
Yeah,
it does not.
that
leave good
happened in
places.
our game.
Oh, it's happened in so many. We've got this one guy who.
That's why I have that shirt that says "crit happens" with the
yeah.
with
Right.
the one.
I was in this one group where this guy was continuously failing, and I felt so horrible for him because he was such a good sport, but I felt so bad. He like got the worst possible punishment that anyone could ever have, and I don't. I don't even know what I'm allowed to say on here, so I don't.
Well, it's up to you.
Okay, well, I'll say it.
If it's really bad, I'll edit it out.
Okay, yeah, if it's really bad, you're welcome to. But he for sure was sexually attacked by the devil because he was continuously failing.
Okay, that's fine, considering you didn't use certain words.
Yes.
I'll leave that in.
Okay. I would.
Oh my god.
I felt so horrible for him, but he would not get out of a crit fail streak, and we were like, for the love of God, like pick up your die and kiss it or something. Give it some love. Do you take it home? Like, does it live in your car or something? And we're like, come on, like, you gotta do something for your dice because I don't know what they're doing for you right now.
Quick sidebar to people who haven't played D&D.
Yes.
There are some weird traditions regarding dice.
Yes.
Like, I sleep with mine. Like, mine are under my pillow.
I have a special little box for mine that I, like, call, it's home for the dice, and they're all together, and I want them to play and be happy, and it usually keeps them pretty happy, but the ones that I use for one campaign is always left alone because I'm like, no, you need to play well with me, not with the others.
Yeah.
So...
There are some weird superstitions regarding dice. Like,
there are.
like Oster can curse dice just by touching them.
I don't even know how
She
does
has...
it.
I
She is
swear
so
she's a witch.
magical. She's magical.
She's a witch.
I think it's ingrained in her.
Like, not even an evil witch. She just has power.
She's awesome.
Because, she's touched all of Johnny's dice, and now all of them roll under 10
you say,
every
one
single
wrong
time.
thing to her, and she looks at you just like
Smack.
lays herself across the table and wipes all of your dice. It's so funny. She's great.
It's effective though.
It is very effective. It literally works every time.
Yeah,
It
every
does.
time she touches a die, it will never roll over 10
There is some
again.
magic ingrained in her.
Unless you boil it in salt water. I have done that to cure it.
Uh-huh. I don't know. I just rub them and I'm like, you're okay. Everything's gonna be okay. She's actually never cursed any of mine.
Yeah.
Because I stay
Because
on
you're not the
listen.
DM.
I'm not the DM. And I always try and work well with other characters and say the right thing, and I want to be a good person in real life, so it's like, don't make anyone mad. There's no point.
Yeah.
And then there's even honestly, there's nothing even that I would say to Oster
We've
to
we've
wake her man.
honestly got to we've got to talk about Skek for a moment.
Love.
I love Skek.
Love Skek.
So in the campaign we're currently going through, where they're going through the Tomb of Annihilation, our friend Oster, who we just mentioned curses dice, is playing a Kenku, which is a crow person.
So cute.
And like they were cursed by their god to not have original thought. They can't their own voice was removed, so they can only mimic sounds they hear. And their wings were taken away, so they always want to fly, but they can't. And when you guys told me that she was playing a Kenku, I was really nervous at first, because it's such a difficult roleplay wise. It's got to be so difficult.
Oh yeah.
But she came in the first session just rolling with it.
She knew what to do.
Yeah.
She did her research. It was like we told her about the new campaign while she was still in Canada, and she was just like, oh my god, I need to open things up and find crow people. She just found it, and she did all of her research. She came back, made her character, and was just like, I'm worried about it, but I think it's gonna go okay. And it went great.
It went so well.
It went so well.
My favorite part about it is honestly the fact that Skek just followed you guys.
I know.
He wasn't invited to the ball that you guys were invited to.
No.
He just kind of like latched onto the back of Johnny's character.
Yes.
Benkren, or
no.
it starts with a B. Bishar.
Yes, Bishar.
Bishar.
Bengren is the
Bengren
bard.
is the dwarf bard.
Mhm.
But she just like he just latched onto the back of Bishar, and like he was just like, whatever, I'm a lizard man, I don't care.
Yeah.
And
I'll
they
just
just
eat you later. It's fine.
and they just walked in, and like I was so. And then Oster turns to me and goes, was I even invited? And I was like, no. And then everyone started laughing, because it was just such a perfect moment.
It was such a Kenku thing. You flocked, and then you didn't know what you were really flocking to, but you flocked to it.
And now you're here, and now you're
here,
with them.
And you're just like, all right, okay, here is Skek. Here I am.
In the last session, Skek was like invisible throughout the entirety of the last session too, because Oster rolled like a 19 plus 6 for stealth.
Yeah.
And she was up against goblins. They weren't gonna see her. But he was so great. I love Skek.
Okay.
Skek may be my favorite character so far in this campaign.
So far has definitely
like,
been
I love
developed
Kit
well.
too.
No,
I love Kit too.
Skek has been well prepared, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't.
And she is keeping a list of the words that Skek has learned to mimic.
Oh yes.
That is the craziest part to me.
My favorite is all talk. So
all
when
talk.
someone is like, "Oh well, I've got all this money in here," Skek's like, "All talk."
All talk. All talk. Like no modifiers to it either. It's not like you are all talk.
Skek
No,
is
it's just
like,
all talk.
Just like shouting it at people. Like...
My favorite so far has been give. Give.
And it's literally like
Or
shiny
want.
things.
Or was it want?
Both.
It was
I
want
think
and give.
Want
Okay.
and give, because Skek will point at things and say want, and then will hold his hands out like a little beggar and go, give.
And it's so cute.
And it's so cute. It's so sweet.
And like I spent the entirety of the last session standing upright, because like I was too excited to sit down.
Yeah.
While I DM'd. It was great. We're at the 58-minute mark already.
Damn.
Yeah. These go by too fast, it feels like.
It was easier than I thought, too.
So, just for funsies, do you have any questions for me? Just because I always open it up for the guests to ask questions at the end.
Yeah, if you could learn about any of your current players' characters in this campaign, like the campaign that you run with us.
Yeah.
Whose would it be? Like, whose would you want to learn a little more about?
Oh, that's hard.
I know, because it's everybody.
But
I know we have
like,
a big group, too.
You've told me a lot about Kit.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned a lot about Skek just through the role play.
Yeah.
I know a lot about Scum because I helped Jackson build Scum.
Right.
So it's got to be Bengren or Bashar because I know nothing about Bengren,
Yeah.
the dwarf bard, but Bashar is so much more interesting because he lived in the sewers in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
So like, what was that experience like? That's
For
I think
sure.
is what I want to learn the most.
Yeah.
A little bit more about Bashar.
Okay. I'm definitely interested in learning more about Bengrin too, and Bashar. I'll be honest, I'm a little worried about Bashar.
I am a little worried about Bashar specifically because he currently has a bag of children's fingers.
He also doesn't like humans, and Kit is like the most likable human in the world. She's just like, I'm gonna love you no matter what, man. Like
Exactly. Oh my god.
It's
I'm so excited to see where this campaign goes
yeah.
because I have a feeling eventually Scum is kind of going to be like the I don't want to say the de facto leader, but I think he's going to be the ones who's going to be like, "All right, you guys have 5 seconds to decide before I kill it."
Gotcha. Yeah.
Just because that seems to be the personality Jackson's bringing to the table.
Mhm.
But I'm most excited to see like Skek grow specifically.
Yes.
Because the more he adventures, the more he'll learn, and the more he'll learn, the better at everything he'll be.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll
I
be
love
really
Skek.
cool to see like actual skills come out of Skek too, like actually finding out what Skek is good at. I think that's gonna be so exciting because then we're all just like looking at him like, you're a sneak master.
Yeah.
Like, did you know that you're good at this? Like,
Yeah.
that is so cool right now. Exactly. Just like I
Bird
feel like
noises.
it's gonna be so cool just to see
Yeah.
Skek like shine in an area that we don't have any shininess
Yeah.
to. Like
Yeah. And he's already honestly doing it.
yeah.
Like just that encounter with the Batiri goblins,
Mhm.
the silly totem goblins.
Yeah.
Like where you guys couldn't even find him.
Yeah.
He was just invisible while he
Right.
took out these goblins. It was so crazy.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
I'm really excited to see where it goes from here.
Me too.
Well, thanks for being on today with me, Kate.
No problem.
Super happy to have you
It was
on.
a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
I'm gonna try and eventually, once I have all of the guests I want to get on, have repeat guests, and we can talk about more complicated like things about D&D, like building a campaign, and
Yeah.
like I really want to sit down and talk to you about like just like building a ranger
Oh,
because you're an expert on that
Oh my
at this
God,
point.
I love rangers. They're the best.
You love druids too.
I do. I love really natural classes.
Yeah.
If they've got anything to do with nature, I've probably dabbled in it.
So we'll have to have you on again for like when I want to talk about the classes.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. This was episode 4 of Roll for Discussion. Have a good day.